Hey there, I'm Dustin with a Simple Dollar. So college expenses have gotten so high, it just really makes my head spin. I mean, trying to save up for college it feels like trying to eat an apple without chewing. It's absolutely incredible the amount of inflation we've seen in paying for college, but for a lot of people it's the best option after high school. So the good news is there's a few strategic things we can do to help save for college. And one type of account you may have looked into is what's called a 529 plan. It's a college savings account designed specifically for paying for education. But there can be some restrictions with those accounts. So the question is, should you be using a 529 or should you be using just a regular brokerage account when you're saving for college? That's what we're going to cover in today's video. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the Simple Dollar. My name's Dustin. We do videos on everything related to personal finance, so make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, so you don't miss any future videos. Also, we'd really appreciate it if you drop down and hit the like button. It really helps the channel out. And then make sure you head over to thesimpledollar.com once you're done with this video, because we have lots of good resources on everything from investing to personal finance to everything else related to your money. And if you want to go through a detailed breakdown on exactly what a 529 is, we'll leave a link in the description below with more information. But at a high level, a 529 is a college savings account. Now, they don't offer a federal income deduction whenever you contribute to one, but a lot of states do offer that. The main benefit of a 529 is that when you invest in one, your money is allowed to compound and grow over years without any taxes on either sales or any income that comes off your assets. You also get to withdraw money from a 529 tax-free, assuming that it's used to pay for educational expenses. And educational expenses aren't only limited to colleges. You can also use up to $10,000 a year when paying for private school. Now, the downside to a 529 is if you don't use it for educational expenses, then you're going to have to pay ordinary income taxes on any gains you had, plus you're going to pay a 10% penalty when you pull the money out. You contrast that to a brokerage account, you're going to be paying taxes as you earn income off of those assets in the account, but you have a lot more flexibility in being able to pull that money out of the account. You can contribute as much as you want to, and you don't pay any penalties when you withdraw funds. So which one is better when you're saving for college? Do you want the flexibility of a brokerage account or do you want the tax savings on a 529? Well, let's look at an example to see how it might work. Let's assume that you contribute $100 a month from the time that a child is born until they turn 18. Assuming a 60-40 split between stocks and bonds, where stocks are returning on average about 6% and bonds are returning about 2%, the money in the 529, if used for education, would turn into over $34,500. In the brokerage account, because you don't have the tax benefits, you would have $31,700. That's a difference of around $2,800 in favor of the 529. Now, if you ended up not using the 529 money for educational expenses, it's a little bit of a different story. You would have a little over $30,400 in the 529 as opposed to $31,700 in the brokerage account. That would mean the brokerage account would win out by almost $1,300. Now, that's just one example. The outcome is really contingent upon your contribution amount, your tax rate, and your timeline. And if you want to learn more about opening up a brokerage account, we'll leave a link in the description to some of our favorite places down below. So now let's go through some of the things you should think about when you're trying to determine if you want to get the tax benefit of a 529 or the flexibility of a brokerage account. So the first one is, how certain are you that you're going to be using the funds for education? If you're pretty sure you're going to need that money to pay for some type of school, whether it be K through 12 or maybe college, then it's probably going to be better to get the tax benefit of the 529. If you're not sure if you're going to be using that money for education, then maybe go with the brokerage account or possibly split up the funds between the two. It doesn't have to be an all or none decision. Second, in general, the longer you have to save for college, the more benefit you're going to get from the 529. Most of the benefit comes from the money allowed to sit in there and compound for years and years. That means the more time the money's allowed to sit in there and grow, the more benefit you're going to have. The third thing is, check with the tax laws in your state and see if you're in a state that allows you to deduct contributions from your income taxes. Some states will even allow you to deduct contributions to a 529 against your income taxes, regardless of what state's plan you use, while other states say that you have to use their state-specific plan. So read up on the rules on your state to make sure you're making the best decision. The fourth thing is, if you have a child that's going to be going to private school in K through 12, then 529s have a lot more benefit because up to $10,000 a year can be pulled from a 529 plan. The fifth thing to think about is if you have another child that the 529 can be transferred to, that gives you added flexibility. You can change the beneficiary on a 529 without any penalties. So if your oldest child ends up not going to college, you can transfer the benefit to another child and still use it for educational purposes. The sixth thing to think about before setting up a 529 for a child is your own personal financial situation. If you don't have an emergency fund, or maybe you have high interest rate debt, or you haven't started saving for retirement yet, it may be better to prioritize those goals as opposed to paying for college. You can always take out debt for college. It's pretty difficult to do that for retirement. Ultimately, the decision can be really tough, and you never really know what the right decision is until after it's already played out. So just think about it as you're picking between two good options. The fact that you're even considering saving for college is better than a lot of people. If you want to learn more about 529s or other types of investment accounts, make sure you head over to thesimpledollar.com, where we have a lot more valuable resources over there. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop down and hit the like button. We'd really appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And for The Simple Dollar, my name is Dustin. Look forward to seeing you again soon.